But there's something you mentioned that I found very interesting. The development of competencies cannot be developed at the same time for each student. Therefore, we are not achieving the spirit of CBC. Do you agree with that? That it is true that you can't develop somebody's talent at the same time?
Well, Trevor, developing competencies would be, in my view, the most important thing in education. It's about how do we help each and every child to be able to do something with their life when they get out of school. That should be more important than scoring a grade A in math or in chemistry. And I would argue that the CBC, I am a parent. I have one child who is in PP2, and he is one of the most communicative people I have engaged with. And thanks to CBC, I can see very clearly how his talents, his interests are being taken care of. I know that there are challenges, and I will tell you what the challenges are. And they are not challenges that would make us go back to 844. It would be a terrible idea, in my view, to go back to 844. The challenge is simple. That several countries have attempted to implement CBC, and several countries in south of the Sahara have flopped. And they have flopped because of three reasons. One is teacher preparation. When government budgeted for CBC, I think they didn't think it was important to train teachers. Or they did, but you can't see that there's a clear intention to train teachers to implement CBC. And so teachers who are doing CBC right now got 3 or 4 days of training. Like, that's a joke. Like, 3 or 4 days of training to implement a new idea is not enough. It takes a teacher 5 years to change their behavior. The first year, it's just orientation, you understand what's going on. But going through, there has to be a consistent and intentional plan to train the teachers to be able to understand and implement the CBC. Number two is parental engagement. CBC is very huge on involving parents in the lives of their children.
Yeah.
But the parent was used to sending their children to school and letting the teacher do the parenting for them. And so when you return children to us every day asking us to fry an egg, to slaughter a chicken, to have conversations, we have to feel frustrated. So we have to be intentional in planning to train the parent to be able to take up the new role of standing by their children every day. And lastly, assessment. Sometime, I think in 2017 or 2018, the then director of Kenya National Examination Council, I think she was Dr. Karogo, announced that there would be examinations for class 3, and there was an uproar through the country. What that indicated is that most of us did not understand what CBC was, even at the top level.
Yeah.
So much so that the Kenya National Examination Council was able to go on record to say that there would be examination, while the intention for assessment for CBC was not assessment of learning. It was assessment for learning, ongoing, continuous, and intentional to ensure there was learning going on at the lesson level.
Yeah.
So assessment was meant to be done during the lesson. What is the point, for example, of testing me on fractions of numbers at the end of my 8-year study if you would have known that I didn't understand within the lesson? So that it was intentional that assessment was brought into the classroom.
Okay.
Yes. So those three things were are the major reasons why all the countries that have failed with CBC failed.
Okay, Dr.